I promised it. You've been waiting for it. Here it is. Let's play Pokemon Crystal. And honestly, I didn't expect to have the success I did with Pokemon Red, but I'm not going to complain about that. Here we have a little opening cutscene with the Suicune. Damn, that name's hard to pronounce. It's probably the most awkward of them all, if you ask me. And there are also unknowns. Why unknown? I don't know. I know for a fact that there's a side quest involving the unknowns in Crystal that wasn't there in Gold and Silver, so that probably explains it. Suicune Astrot, for those of you who are a bit on the more perverted side. Crystal spelled out in unknown. Pretty neat, actually. So now I'm just going to set the text speed to fast, since that's what I do in every game. And now I can start a new game. Oh yeah, now I can... It's the first game, Crystal, where I can play as a girl. I can't even do that in Gold and Silver. But since I'm the proud owner of a pair of testicles, I'm not gonna do that. Okay, now we are 4:47 in the afternoon, so I'm gonna set the clock that way. And no, I'm not gonna cheat to move the days forward and the time. No. Wait, what? I overslept? It's almost 5 in the afternoon! What kind of freak sleeps all the way till 5 in the afternoon? Even if you go to sleep at 4 or 5 in the morning, you're not gonna wake up that late. Now, I actually have quite a bit to say about the time thing in this game, but for now, I'm just going to move on to Professor Oak's speech. And yeah, I gotta love how it's Professor Oak when Johto's professor is actually Professor Elm. Now I know Professor Oak makes an appearance, though you'll see later that I wish he would rather have not been in this game. But yeah, he's such a spotlight hogger. Instead of letting Elm do the introduction, Oak is like, no, I'm the veteran. I know how to do an introduction. And he sure does, because he's repeating almost verbatim what he's already told me in Red. Okay, now it's time for me to enter my name, same as I always do. I'm gonna be Jeff, even though it's not my actual first name. It's more of a contraction than anything. Okay, now, blah blah blah. Can we just move on? Yeah, I know I say that a lot while not scrolling the text instantly. I just want to show you everything, and I do mean everything. What can I say? I'm a stickler for a job well done. So we're gonna have that sprite transition again. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to withdraw the potion from my PC. What? No potion? Where's my potion? Damn! No, dear God, no, please, no! Okay, please tune in next time. Oh, whew, that was a close call. I thought I unleashed the horrors of hell upon mankind. And if you don't know what I mean, well, I'm going to cover it a bit later on. And I know I'm going to say that a lot during that 2-part pilot episode. But, yeah, there's a lot to say, much more than I can manage to say in 20 minutes. So here's the town map, a bit more convenient than the red, blue, and yellow version. Okay, now it's time to play What's That Movie again. In red, blue, and yellow it was Stand By Me. What is this one? And by the way, no, I am not going to use that password thing or whatever it is to change the time whenever I wish to do so. If I have to do something on Friday, I am going to do it on Friday in real time. Now, hopefully, that doesn't mean I'm gonna have to postpone episodes, but, no, I'll try not to have that happen. So now, if I remember, she's going to give me the Pokegear, which is some sort of multifunctional device, which has, like, a town map, a radio, there's also a phone, a really god-awful phone that you can only remember 10 numbers at one time, okay? And one of them is always going to be your mom, and the second one is always going to be Professor Elm. So that leaves 8 phone numbers for trainers that you can have rematches with. Only 8! Oh yeah, now it's time to set the day. Today we are Tuesday. I was intending to start this on a Tuesday. Yes, by the way, it is daylight savings time. It lasts a lot longer now than back when this game came out. Back then, we only spent like 6 months and a half in daylight savings time. But what is it now, 8 months? And yeah, as I was saying, the phone, well, you can only remember the numbers for 8 trainers, which really sucks because there's a lot of trainers that you like to remember their numbers, but yeah, you can only remember 8, so of course it's gonna be those who give you the most experience, those on like Route 26, 27, that kind of numbers. Let's try calling my mom, even though she's right next to me. Just go talk to that person. Okay, well actually it's a pretty smart thing to do because cell phones give cancer. And hey, look, pockets in my bag. Technology is incredible. But yeah, in Crystal, one thing about the phone is that you can remember the phone number of certain trainers, and they're gonna give you evolutionary stones. In Gold and Silver, you could only get one of each by thanks to that old man in Bill's house, but here you can get multiple copies of each instead of having to import them. No, wait, you can't. Instead of having to not import them, but you have to trade back like your Growlite to evolve it into an Arcanine and then send it back to Gold, Silver, Crystal. So yeah, it's sort of convenient actually. Of course, I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to be using any Pokemon that use evolutionary stones to begin with. And while I was talking about that, I didn't want to interrupt myself again because I am already hard enough to follow as it is, but apparently my mom's culinary specialty is the Cinnabar Volcano Burger. The only problem is that in the 3 years since Red, Blue, and Yellow happened, well, the Cinnabar Volcano went haywire and destroyed the entire island. So, does that make the Cinnabar Volcano Burger a burger that's burned to a crisp or something? Okay, now that girl says Pikachu is an evolved Pokemon. Now, today we're saying, no shit, Pichu evolves into it. But back then, supposedly, the findings of, you know, baby Pokemon and everything were such a big deal. Wow! There's actually baby Pikachus, and there's like another species entirely. So here's where Pichu comes from, but there's one problem, however. You know how I just said that Gold, Silver, Crystal takes place 3 years after Red, Blue, and Yellow? Well, in Fire Red and Leaf Green, which is a remake of Red, Blue, and Yellow, once you reach 4 Island, you can breed your Pokemon in the exact same way that you can in Gold, Silver, and Crystal. And as a result, well, wouldn't that make me, the character, the discoverer of all those baby Pokemon? Whereas in this game, we're supposed to believe that it's actually Professor Elm. Wow, we're not even done with the first video, and already we've met 2 professors who like to steal the spotlight from other people. Wow. Professoral kleptomania must really be running in the family, if you get what I mean. And just to add a layer to that plot hole burger, well, according to a popular theory, Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald took place at the same time as Red, Blue, and Yellow. See where I'm going with this? Okay, now I'm taking a look at Professor Elm's PC. Why has no one ever witnessed a Pokemon's birth? Well, that's not true! A lot of people actually did, but you just want to take all the credit because nobody's made it into a paper yet! You stupid, avaricious, kleptomaniac professor! Yeah, I know, it's definitely a plot hole that they didn't even try to fix, but I like my explanation better. It sounds cooler.